Now, most of our wrap jobs come into the shop because they're mobile: cars, trucks, buses, boats, etc. We have a perfect climate-controlled environment for application of the wraps. But sometimes we have wrap projects on physical structures that can't be moved, and when that happens, we go on the road. And in this case, we mean that literally. The Central Florida Expressway Authority, or CFX, is an independent, locally controlled toll agency responsible for construction, maintenance, and operation of 118 miles of expressway. CFX serves more than 3 million residents in 5 counties, plus an estimated 75 million visitors each year. On average, more than 1 million toll transactions are recorded every day, and 85% of them are completed electronically. CFX receives no state or local tax dollars. The toll revenues pay for the entire system, and then they are reinvested into local projects in the Central Florida region. And one of those projects was designed to promote one of the most important cornerstones of our community, the University of Central Florida, by theming 14 UCF toll booths along the University corridor. So this is a very creative and unique idea about wrapping these toll booths, but it's a very smart one too, because the 3M vinyl that we're wrapping with would actually protect the toll booth itself from heavy rains, Florida sun, and all the gunk and dirt that these cars kick up on the toll plazas, because the vinyl wrap is actually much easier to clean and maintain than the toll booths were themselves.
This is a great project. Everybody that drives by these toll booths is going to get to see the work that we do, and it's millions and millions of people that go through these toll booths, so very exciting, a lot of exposure. And as far as the design goes, they had it all set. All we had to do was execute for them. With the toll booth, it's a relatively square structure. Boats, trucks, cars, they all have multiple compound curves that do unpredictable things to the vinyl. But this is straight up and down with radius corners. You can count on the vinyl landing in the right spot because we've measured the whole thing. We know how far it's going to go around. It's not going to stretch side to side. If it stretches in any direction, it's going to stretch down. So I was able to piece the whole thing together knowing that when you come around to this side, this end is going to match up with this end. Now, you know, obviously it's vinyl. There's a little give and take, but for the most part, it should work perfectly. The worst part about this job is probably the condition that these toll booths are going to be in. They're out in the middle of the road. They're going to have road schmutz all over them. Tire, grease, oil, nastiness. I know that they have a crew that comes out and pressure washes these things, but for our vinyl to have good adhesion, we're going to probably have to really scrub the thing with alcohol. It's going to be bad. Hopefully we're able to do a decent job of getting it cleaned up, but you know, this is definitely a worst case scenario for a preparation situation.
So if you look, there's a bunch of hanging vinyl on all the old stripes, so you have to shave that down as thin as possible, and then all the road grime and oils need to be removed from it so that the glue on the back of the vinyl has a chance to adhere to the stainless.
Most people's definition of clean is not our definition of clean. We need it really clean.
Now, you sign guys watching are probably wondering why we didn't peel those orange and purple stripes first, because anytime we get an old wrap in here that we're going to put a new wrap on, we definitely peel and strip the vinyl off of that wrap, clean it, and wrap. But those purple and orange stripes are 15-year-old vinyl technology, and they were fused so far into that stainless steel, there was no getting them off. So we trimmed them down, made sure everything was flat, cleaned them very good, and wrapped right over top.
We can have multiple people starting on different sides, because as long as we measure and start in the same spot and run it in the same spot all the way across, it theoretically should line up in the middle.
We've been doing this for a long time. We're not a bunch of newbies. If you don't pull back your vinyl to see where you're overlapping, you're gonna have leather that's higher than your next panel. So it's pretty critical for you to make sure that before you stick the vinyl down that all your text and stuff are gonna line up properly. If you notice, we put up all the panels, make sure that all the panels fall where they're supposed to before we start laying anything down. We can be short in a certain area where we don't want to be. So everything from the person that went to take the survey and measurements to the designer and installers, we all pretty much worked all in sync to make sure that everything lined up where it needed to.
The traffic was pretty crazy because you got people going through there at 60 to 80 miles an hour, and you have 3 cones between your life and bumper.
Yeah, I think I was actually worried the most about traffic. I mean, we seen a bunch of vehicles that came close to going right through the cones and swerved last minute. So it was a little uncomfortable. I used my car to block the road a few times.
The cars on the other side of the wall where the expressway is aren't too bad, but the ones coming through in between the two lanes was a little bit sketchy. So you kind of have to pay attention to what you're doing to make sure that you don't go splat.
I think the lighting sometimes kind of played with our vision a little bit.
The lights out there weren't exactly natural light, so it was hard to see whether the color matched up exactly from panel to panel. Sometimes it looked green, sometimes it looked orange, sometimes it was yellow. It just kind of depended on the angle you were at with the lighting.
The biggest pain in the ass of the overall job would have been the weather.
The weather varied from hot as to tsunami, so it varied while we were out there.
Normally we're working in a climate-controlled building and working outside in the field. You got no control over Mother Nature, and there was some times where we just couldn't lay down vinyl because the rain was too heavy.
We had to try to keep the prints all dry because if they got wet, then the backer separates and sticks to the back of the vinyl and then made it a real pain in the ass.
I think the spiders were actually the pretty cool thing of the whole job, to be honest with you. I enjoyed poking the black widows. Ooh, she got mad.
So the bigger spiders were at the top, and when it would get dark, they would kind of climb down to the top of where the booths were, or they would be on the ground in between the concrete pillars.
Yeah, we learned to look out for them motherfuckers. We spent some big gnarly ones.
The big ones live up there. Pete warned the camera guy that there were spiders around, but I don't think he listened.
Are you standing on a spider?
Huh? So we're out here inspecting on the highway this afternoon, and we're taking a look at all of our toll booths that we've wrapped for UCF, our local college here in Central Florida. We've themed the booths, they look great, and we've got 14 of them total, 6 here and 8 at another location. We wrapped them up for the Central Florida Expressway Authority. We're just gonna come here and make sure everything's all tightened up. We're here with Armando and G2 today. These guys have been in charge of the remodel of these stations here. Basically, these booths are about the size of a typical cargo van that we wrap for a business or something like that. This is nice because it's a lot of flat sides, but it's also pretty hazardous conditions that we're working in. So it definitely had its challenges.
I watch the traffic.
This one's closed and that one's closed. We still gotta watch.
I tell my guys every day before when they were coming out here to make sure you watch and watch it. Even if it's closed down, you still gotta watch.
I've been building roads 43 years, and there's several guys that ain't around no more because of that.
Yeah.
Jay, do we want to hit this little strip right there?
Oh yeah,
let's print that in. That, you know, eventually is going to start pulling off. So what do we
silicone
do right there?
they can edge seal a piece in.
Yeah, you might want to get them to look at this black right here.
So Dale really has a lot of energy when he's dealing with his customers. He really likes to show them what we're doing, how we're doing it, showing them the methods involved so that they feel part of the process.
Yeah, if there's anything you guys see that needs adjustment or anything fixed up, just let us know.
You can tell that he's really into what we do, and he likes our customers to be aware of the extra steps and measures that we're taking to make their product perfect.
So on this window perforation, window perf, since it has holes drilled in the vinyl, doesn't have the stickability of a solid sheet of vinyl. So we want to make sure that this is the first place it'll fail over time. So we came in on these prints just a 1/4 inch around the edges so that the wrap doesn't touch the rubber, it just goes on the glass. And then to further increase the durability of it, we come back with a 1/2 inch clear strip of lamination that edge seals that perforated vinyl on there. So it really makes it a much better application if we seal that little edge and don't touch the rubber.
I got a bigger issue up here though. I got some color shift.
We got that yellow, so what's up? You get a picture of this side here, you can totally see the color difference right there. But it's pitch black out and we're working underneath these halogen lights, you know, it's hard to tell a color difference. So that's the problem that we're having today, is finding out that in the daylight, it looks like we gotta change it. All right, we're going down.
You first.
So one of the really cool things about doing this job was getting from one set of toll booths to the other on the opposite side of the highway. They have a tunnel that goes underground, and it's a really kind of creepy tunnel with the sound of cars going over your head, and there's all this electrical equipment, and you kind of got to duck your head.
So right now we're walking under 6 lanes of the East-West Expressway.
it was weird to see how the toll booths operate and how these guys get back and forth from one toll booth to the other.
This is one sign Dale never has to worry about. He probably didn't even see it. All right, this side's open over here. If you hear me scream like a little girl, run and jump behind concrete. Yeah, here, when I thought they were closing on lanes, I figured we had barricades, barrels, or something up here, but we got cones.
Hey, they also have a big X.
Oh, well,
It's a big red X.
that'll stop everybody. It says, don't run over, wrap this, guys.
Yeah, so that's something kind of we get a little sketched out about, because that's our safety net with those 3 cones out there. It's obviously supposed to stop people. They're not, this lane is not open, but if somebody's not paying attention, I'm sure they can blast right through there. All right, y'all, so now we are down at the 417 and University Boulevard toll plaza, and there's only 6 on this one. So the last one at Dean had 8, this one has 6. Pretty much the same size booth, and of course the same graphics, because we're theming everything right here in the UCF corridor.
So when we went over to the university toll booths, we expected to have a lot of the same issues, but we didn't. We were very fortunate. Just a few minor issues, but nothing that really took much time.
Pretty good, yeah. Yeah, these ones are tight.
Dale was pretty funny while we were out there. He made some new friends, toll booth operators, so was asking them what they thought of the wraps.
Hey, how you doing? We thought we'd come out and visit.
Yay, I'm Marie. How you doing?
Maria, I'm good. I'm Dale.
Yeah.
You like your new wraps?
It's pretty.
They're kind of cool, huh? Better than the orange and purple, huh?
The toll booth operators seemed to love our work. That was awesome.
G2, so we're noticing that even the little minor issues and stuff that we had over at that other place, these are much tighter. Like all the little things that were over there aren't here, and I has to do something because they did these in the daylight. Yeah, that's a good idea. When we make our repairs, we're doing during the daytime and to make sure everything's tight. But yeah, these look great.
We did run into an isolated incident in this job that kind of threw us for a loop. We had a little bit of color shift. Sometimes the printers will, a print head will drop out during printing, and it's not really noticeable until you put 2 panels next to each other. It'll be a partial dropout, so you don't really see a huge difference. But when you put the 2 panels up next to each other, then it creates a real problem. And also, we were installing at night with yellow lighting over everything, and all of our prints were yellow. So the guys installing usually wouldn't install a panel if it's the wrong color, but they couldn't really see the color differences in the yellow lighting at night. So when we walked up to it in the full sunlight, you could see right away that some of the yellow shades didn't match. It was just in a few places, it was isolated. Fortunately, with wrapping these toll booths, they have doors and windows and lots of places to hide seams and knifeless tape cut lines. So the fixes should be easy and should be cleverly disguised so that you don't see any seams or issues with the wrap.
Man, seeing that environment at ground level, I'm never speeding through a toll booth plaza again. That is one dangerous job. But I gotta tell you, I'm really impressed with how my guys handled that job. They ran through that place like a NASCAR pit crew. And of course, none of this would have been possible without our friends at GrimCo, who supplied over 4,000 square feet of 3M specialized vinyl to get this project completed. If you want any other information on our sign supply companies like GrimCo or any of our other vendors, check the links below. Thank you for watching the Media One Wrap This YouTube channel.